city has seen the ancient Egyptians, it's seen the Canaanites, it's seen the Israelites, it's seen the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, it's seen the Israelites again, it's seen the Greeks, the Romans, the Byzantines, Christian Romans, we've seen the Arabs, we've seen the Crusaders, the Mamluks, the Ottomans, the British, the split city of Jordan and Israel, and of course now the state of Israel. We've seen many, many famous people. We've seen Abraham. We'll actually show you where Abraham was when he came here to Jerusalem. We've seen King David was going to turn Jerusalem into his capital, the capital of the Jewish people. We've seen Jesus of Nazareth come through here. I'll point out where David's city was. I'll show you guys. We'll actually walk perhaps where Jesus of Nazareth walked himself. We've seen all kinds of famous people, other people as well. What I want to get us at this point, we roughly have an idea of what the city has seen. A few basic things to understand. Number one, the old city. We just left it, by the way. You should notice that. East Jerusalem was Jerusalem until 150 years ago. That's it. So almost our entire tour, we're talking about just the old city. The new city, when you guys get up in a little bit, if you look out over there, you will see a windmill just in that direction. That is the first neighborhood outside the city walls, built only in 1860. Secondly, this is, being an old city, there's a gate. If you did not make it right in time, they close the gate on you. Right at the end of the day, you have to go find an inn somewhere. There's all kinds of inns scattered around the city as well. We also have, to understand the gate, this is Jaffa Gate. Jaffa Gate is one of 7 main gates of the city. They found others as well. It is in Hebrew named Char Yaffo, same thing. Why do we call it Jaffa Gate? Because the main road just behind us coming in this direction, Jaffa Road, it'll actually take you to Jaffa, right? If I'm in Jaffa and I'm on the road going in this direction, guess what it's called? Jerusalem Boulevard. Makes a lot of sense, of course. The Arabic name is a little different though. It's the Gate of the Friend, Bab al-Khalil. Well, what's the friend? Who's the friend? The friend is Abraham. Abraham is buried in Hebron. Hebron comes from the Hebrew word chaver, also for friend. Same thing in Arabic, Hebron is al-Khalil, the friend. If I were to take the road behind me, in the other direction, we're going to Hebron. Alright? Makes a lot of sense. This is how ancient gates, many ancient gates and ancient roads got their names. Guys, we're a little bit in the sun now, so I want to get us out of this. But we're about to walk into the old city. Back in, we're going to walk through a big area that when we just walked out, you notice that was not the gate. That was a big hole in the wall. Right? Why is there a big hole in the wall? And who built these walls? We're going to go find out at our first stop. So if you guys are ready to go. These walls are actually 450 years old, built by the Ottoman Empire. 450 years might sound like a lot, especially if you're from the United States, right? But in Jerusalem time, it's very, very short, okay? Not too big of a deal. Who are the guys who actually built them? Well, of course, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent asked for it, and he built it in like 4 or 5 years. Compare that to the shopping center just below that you might have walked through, 20, 30 years. Of course, the Sultan didn't have to deal with unions and committees and all kinds of planning and strikes. Right? He just said, you, we're going to build. That's it. His architects are the guys buried right behind me. You guys might have been sitting here the whole time, didn't even notice these 2 little graves here. The story goes that when Suleiman came here to see his finished product, he saw that Mount Zion was outside the walls. Mount Zion's actually in that direction, outside the walls. And he got so angry that he had his architects killed. There's about 5 other stories about why he had them killed. I won't go into all of them. But the story is that they actually put their head, he was so angry, he put their heads up on those 2 ledges just over the arch of Jaffa Gate. And that's the most disgusting thing I'll tell you today. But it also might explain why those graves are so small. 1. 2, I will tell you the most likely reason why they're buried here, if these are the graves of the architects. they were given a position of honor right here at one of the main gates coming into Jerusalem. Okay? Again, there's a lot more other reasons and stories about it. We'll skip those for now. And if anyone's really interested, walk with me, I'll tell you. Our next stop, we're going to go to the David's Tower. And I'm already going to give you a spoiler. It wasn't built by King David. So let's find out who did do it, okay? Just straight ahead where I'm looking right now is something called the Christian Information Center. If anyone is here, they want to know about prayer times, anything around the country, in any language. If you guys want a mass in Finnish at midnight in Nazareth, those are your people to go talk to. They also have a great website as well. All right, now, the big attraction behind me now, the big tower. Guys, it's not anything to do with David. All right? Just some incredible scientific research went into finding out who did it. The Byzantines came here. They saw a big tower, and they said, big tower must be from David. And ever since then, we've been kind of misnamed. So, if you look to the right of this doorway here, you can see that there is a slanted grayish stone. That is a moat from the Crusaders. Just above that, you have a two-tiered tower. The bottom part of that tower is actually part of one of 3 towers belonging to King Herod. King Herod was a Jewish king, he was a Roman compliant king, and he is most famous to Christians for being the guy that tries to kill all the little boys when he's trying to take out Jesus. All right? He's most famous in this land for being an incredible builder. Right? If you guys have been to Masada, you've been to Caesarea, if you're planning to go to those places, right? We'll talk about the Temple Mount that he built. This is part of his palace. It stretches the entire area behind me in this direction. Now, it was placed in a very strategic place, which is why it's also called the Citadel. For the last 2,000 years, all different kinds of groups that have been here, they've all put their main fortress right here. And that's why when you go in, you can see things from every time period. In fact, they've turned the place into a museum of Jerusalem throughout history, every time period. They also have a wonderful light show, sound and light show in the evenings. I've heard great reviews. It's 4 nights a week they do it. Not tonight, but I think the next one's Saturday night. All right, so something to check out as well. I highly recommend it. Okay. Now, I mentioned General Allenby. Guys, General Allenby is the British general who was going to come here and conquer this from the Ottoman Empire in 1917. He is going to come in, he's going to get off of his horse and walk into the city. Why? He says everyone should come to Jerusalem as a pilgrim, not as a conqueror. Who, however, was he fighting in World War I? Not just the Ottomans, but also the Germans. And who was the ruler of Germany in World War I? Very good, it's also still Kaiser Wilhelm. So perhaps he's actually trying to also teach Kaiser Wilhelm a little lesson about humility. How do you come into Jerusalem? Right? It says, however, it's not going to be the real surrender of Jerusalem. The real surrender of Jerusalem, guys, there was no fight. The Ottomans came, the mayor came, we got the white flag, took some people with him, they walked out in this direction over here towards the central bus stations, probably where most of you came into town. You ran into 2 British soldiers, who also left their camp and came into the city looking for tea and coffee. Who were these 2 British soldiers who accepted the surrender of Jerusalem, the real surrender? 2 cooks in the British Army. All right? So, coming through these walls, through these gates, we've had prophets, we've had priests, we've had kings, we've had generals, we've had pilgrims, but even a lowly cook can have his day here in Jerusalem. Right? So, hopefully everyone will have a wonderful day. I can't promise you the key to the city, but at least we'll have the key of knowledge about the city and how to walk around, what the place is all about. We're actually going to go deep into the city now. We have 4 quarters of the city: Muslim, Christian, Jewish, and Armenian. Very good. Well, the first 3 make a lot of sense, right? Muslim, Christian, Jewish. How did the Armenians get a quarter? Right? Why not the Sri Lankans? Right? Why not the Portuguese? Why not, I don't know, the Afghanis, right? We're going to go find out what makes them so special.